This conference will now be recorded.
Right across from us. It's not up the front.
Oh.
There's houses on both sides.
It's 6:30, we're recording.
All right, the Cottage Grove Town Board will hold a special meeting in the Town Hall at 4058 County Road N on Tuesday, October 29th, 2024 at 6:30 PM to work on the 2025 town budget. You can also join the meeting by GoToMeeting. We have a quorum present. The meeting was posted at the Town Hall and on the website. I'll call the meeting to order. Our first item is consider adopted motion to move into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85, parent 1, parent C, for the purpose of considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. 2025 employee compensation.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Duplace, second by Williams to go into closed session. Roll call. Unger. Anders.
Aye.
Hampton, aye. Williams.
Aye.
Aye.
Duplace. Thank you.
I'm gonna stop the recording and I'm gonna lock the virtual meeting.
This conference will now be recorded.
The next item is review of town fees for town ordinance 1.0128.
Did I?
No.
Bump everything by 100%.
Yeah. Just for the village. Did we get it? I don't think, did we?
No.
County is having a significant dog license fee increase. I think that's gonna make people mad enough. I don't think we need to add anything to that. I don't think that it's costing us any more.
Why,
than what
I guess, why would people be upset because they're gonna pay a little bit more to have a dog?
They will. They
Because-
will.
They complain now.
Yeah.
It's money,
Yes.
Steve. Don't you understand?
Yes.
Don't you print that?
What's the big difference? What's the big difference in that dog fee?
I didn't bring it with me, but I can pull that up
Guesstimate.
too. But
I think it was like $5 to $10
More?
more.
Oh.
It was
From
the
county?
ones that weren't spayed and neutered were the ones that saw the biggest increase. And I
They
think
still got the same thing
multi-dog
for 3 dogs or more,
yeah,
decent.
do they?
yeah, I don't feel like, I mean, it doesn't take us very long to do, it takes a long time to do all the dog licenses, but license by license, it's not huge. I think we're doing okay for what we're getting. I wouldn't raise ours at the same time because that'll really, really not go over well.
Are you taping again?
I'm pulling up the fees and bonds here.
She recording.
And so you probably can't see that, but
I can.
I can read some of it off here. So there's alcohol fees. Yeah, we might as well pull that out.
It's better.
And
then I'll send your way.
There's a way.
Let's see, IWZ.
Which way is the E pointing?
There's one of these things that lets you split this.
I think I need glasses.
There, is that any better?
That's
Oh,
better.
nope,
Went back.
it went back. You had it for a
Plus.
second.
Well, it's full screen now, but I don't know. I don't know what.
It got bigger just for a second and then.
Yeah.
There's a bus down.
I don't know. I don't know how to make that all full screen again. Unless it's this.
There
It
you go.
won't stay.
There you go.
Yeah, that's as big as it's gonna get. But anyway, you got your alcohol licenses. You haven't changed those in a long time, but it's 500 for the Class A fermented malt, Class B or 100 for Class B, 500 for Class A intoxicating liquor, 500 for Class B, B, intoxicating liquor, $100 for a winery license, we don't have any. $100 for a retail wine license, we don't have any. $10 for a temporary, that's statutory. Operators licenses and managers licenses are 25 each.
Do we have one alcohol license in reserve since they closed the one bar?
I have to think, cause Dave Mule, no, we don't have any left. Dave
Okay,
Mule got
that-
the last
All
one.
right. I was
Because
just
Warren Belly
curious.
got the last one, right?
Warren Belly got the second to the last one, cause we
Dave
lost two
Mule.
bars. We lost Country Corners and Crossroads since that whole thing started.
Yeah,
And so Warren Belly has one and Dave
Dave
Mule
Mule.
has one.
But it's
Oh,
based,
that's right,
it's based
Mule.
on population, right?
It was based on population back in 80 something or other when it all
And I
came
think it's
into
been-
play.
And,
And our population hasn't, if anything, has probably gone down, honestly.
well, yeah, I
It
don't
hasn't
think so.
changed very much,
No,
enough to make a difference. So we've got them all in use right now.
I'd say they should stay the same.
No,
yeah.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
well, did you say that the licenses for operators and managers were statutorily
No,
capped?
no, those are 25 each, but those hit the people, not the bars usually.
Why
So,
not bump it up a little bit? It's been that way for 20 years. I mean, even if we bumped it up $10.
You probably go to every township in the state and they wouldn't, it'll stay the same. You're gonna start a precedent, and that's,
Yeah, I'm not
And
really big.
what does it hurt? I mean, people aren't gonna go broke, or the operators aren't gonna go broke by paying an extra couple of bucks for their license every year. Everything else is going up for as far as fees go. I'm not,
I don't
talking
think
of-
that's statutory. I guess I shouldn't say that for sure.
I guess I wouldn't raise it more than $5.
I think it
if I
is
was gonna
statutory, to
raise
be
it.
quite frank about it.
what?
I think it is statutory.
The operators.
Liquor
and
licenses and,
The temporary is, I know
yeah.
that.
The what?
The temporary
Yeah.
one is, I know that.
the village will have the same. It
The
won't
village
change.
is raising fees.
They're not gonna change liquor license
Won't
fees,
they?
no.
Well, they're changing permit fees for like Hot to Trot and events like the Centennial Celebration. They're changing.
Well, that's a little different. I think we've, you know,
But we
through the
always
years,
give
we've
that
done it
back,
too,
though,
I think,
too,
yeah.
don't
But we give free, I think they give some free ones out too, though, like we do, and
They're not planning to in the future, from what I've heard.
how do you know that? Yeah.
Chamber of Commerce.
Oh,
There
that's a
was
good thing to bring
discussion
up the Chamber of
afterwards.
Commerce to raise prices, geez.
The chamber is not, but they are concerned that it could impact some of their events with fees.
Are the village's fees pretty pricey?
I think so.
Oh,
It just says the municipal governing body shall establish by ordinance a fee for the operator's license. And it shall be valid for 1 or 2 years as determined by the municipal governing body.
I don't think we've raised it in
We haven't.
years.
No, it's
not
been
for as long as I've been on the
the
So-
board.
same as long as I've
haven't.
been here.
No.
Let's raise it $5.
Both operators and managers?
Same
Yes,
thing.
Yes.
I don't even know why they have manager, because it doesn't mean a thing.
They use them though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So-
It's
Is it
just,
what?
they think they gotta have one, but
Managers.
Oh,
same money.
Okay, you got that?
an official scapegoat in case the cops come?
Yep,
All right,
that's
the
exactly it.
The next thing is blasting permits, short-term and long-term, 250 and 500. You did just raise that a few years ago. You don't have very many of them. Only got one place that can really blast, well, two maybe.
I don't know if they could.
Yeah. Change of land use fee is 300. Cigarette and tobacco, oh,
In the land use, last year we raised the per diem for plan commission $10, didn't we?
yeah,
To 35. Did we change that to cover it?
I don't think so. No, because 35, well, but we also learned that you guys can't get 50, so
Yeah, so
35 times 7 is 245. And this is 300, so you're covered.
Unless we raise the per diems.
Unless you raise the per diems, yeah.
I'm jumping ahead here, but I believe the plan commission members, everybody deserves $50 a meeting for the kind of work that we've actually been doing lately is just not the same anymore, and doing $50, to help cover time and so on and so forth. So in that regard, I would say, seeing there's 7 of us, we raise the
Raise what, $50?
Right.
to 300 to cover.
$350.
Instead of 7 times, oh yeah,
That'd be
350.
$350.
Yeah, I did go to school.
I know.
I have a
Emergency
calculator.
government is not,
For you.
emergency government isn't important then?
You
I
could
didn't
get
say
yours
that.
too.
Well, I would, I don't know what you,
Do we want
I can see you
to
guys do a lot of stuff on
put
the
something
planning.
in?
I didn't know what you guys get.
But we,
But they meet every, they meet
Let's
every.
bump it all up to 50.
we don't meet all the time, so.
Yeah.
So you can put that on, you can change those anytime, right? So you can put that on the next agenda to change those per diems. You could fit it into your budget now and then put it on the agenda, next board agenda to increase those per diems if you wanted to.
Right, and we would also need to change that for
Change of land use fee to
350.
Yes.
And then we'll put emergency government and plan on the next town board to raise that come January 1.
Wasn't there one citizen who wanted us to go up to 75?
That was for board
No.
ones.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
But you have to get reelected in order to.
No,
qualify
I
for that.
understand.
Boston
So-
staying the same.
I'm just saying.
Moving on.
Said as
So
a
it doesn't
joke.
touch us
It
for a
was said
long
as a
time.
joke.
Cigarette licenses, it used to be 25, it's up to 50 now. We've only
We
got
don't-
2 of them, so, or maybe even 1
I would-
anymore.
do anything with it.
No, dangerous animal license, we don't have any. Dog licenses, like I said, those are our fees. I don't feel like that the little bit that you would raise them would do
Warrants.
anything but tick people off, honestly.
As long as all of our costs are covered.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of our daily day, so we're there anyway. It's not like
Yeah.
we're working overtime to do dogs. We're covering the postage, we're covering, I'm not that concerned about it compared to what ruckus there's gonna be if we raise it anymore at the same time as the county does.
Okay,
Driveway permit fee is 150, the deposit is 1,000.
That's
Is that right
that's all
still?
right, don't you?
Seems like it.
These emergency response reimbursement fees, we usually check with Nick
Yeah,
and see if he wants to make any changes, so I can check with him.
doesn't that follow the FEMA schedule?
Yeah.
I was just gonna ask about that.
Could you
Scroll
scroll
down.
down?
Oh.
Would you have time to check to make sure FEMA schedule hasn't changed?
Well, Nick would know that. I don't know if they're strictly on FEMA. I got this locked so I don't show things I don't mean to, so I have to. Where are we?
Amber would probably be the good one for that, right? Amber would probably be the good one for that, right? Or I am not. April, sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I mean,
Or do these with your
Like, what am I getting into now?
So this is why I
I'll
did
stay
that,
out of
because
it.
every time I move. Okay, anyway, yeah, I mean, by the time I figure out where to look, they probably already know. So I would just check with Nick.
Okay,
Deeper
yeah.
on that.
Just because that whole ambulance thing and the run fees and whatever we're gonna.
I can't get back to the screen I was at here, come on. Hold on. There we go.
Good.
Okay, then we have fireworks permit fee, $50. We usually have issued one a year.
Didn't have one this
We
year.
have one this year. Hall rental fees are, $150 for town or village residents, $1,000 for non-resident. We did that several years ago because we were having trouble with non-residents not caring how they left it.
Yeah.
Don't they have to make a deposit too in addition?
It's a $100 deposit for a town or a village resident and $500 for a non-resident, so it's pretty prohibitive. Nobody's really gonna wanna do that.
Have we had any $1,000 ones?
I think we have had one since we did it, yeah, but, they're busy. Well, even this hall is getting busier with scout groups and stuff like that, but Flint Hall's busy.
Yeah.
Do we charge Red Cross for the blood?
No.
I didn't think so.
Lions run that usually.
Right.
These handling fees, they're in here, we never use them. I think that was more for, like, now everything's electronic. If somebody needs something, you just send them an electronic copy of something. You're not handling stuff really anymore, so we don't ever use those. Parkland impact fees, this is statutory, so right now, I mean, they're per our, not statutory, but per our land division ordinance, so this is something that gets charged with new lots every time the new house is built, that didn't fall into the prior situation. It's $375 for the parkland impact fee and $1,160 for the recreation improvement fee. Those haven't been changed for a while. All right. Land division fees, so concept, a lot of these are kind of similarly based on the plan commission, so concept plan is 300, you might want to go to 350 for that.
Yep.
Preliminary plat is 350 already, plus $25 a lot, same thing for final plat, I think those are probably okay.
Yeah.
The CSM, a CSM standalone is 125, that just comes to the board. And usually you have a board meeting anyway, so.
So if Joe Smith wants a certified survey map approved,
That,
they get charged $125?
if they haven't done a rezone and everything else with it, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We don't charge them that when it's like the last step of a rezone, but if
Sure.
it's just a certified survey map and that all they're asking for is a land division, then we charge
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
And that just goes to the board, not the planning commission. Again, the mailing list fees are irrelevant, that's not even
Yeah.
relevant anymore, they're in there, but non-metallic mining fee, 300.
Yeah.
Overweight permit fees are $20 per power unit, and they're supposed to have a bond of $1 million per mile of road that's permitted.
You're okay with that?
I don't know. It might have been good a couple years ago, but I think we should probably up that
Which one?
the million per mile.
Yeah.
Probably do the 1.5,
True.
like Nick, we had talked about.
Yeah.
So we got those guys the permit.
Change that to 1.5.
I would say.
God, it's hard to believe that. The road I mean, I know it does, but it
Yeah,
just,
the roads are expensive.
Peddlers and transient merchants, we haven't had one of those in a long time.
No.
You guys have probably never even seen one, have you?
I don't think I've seen one.
I mean, I don't think anybody, they're probably out there, and once in a while they get reported and they gotta come in and get a license, but that's not as much, the door-to-door salesmen are not as much as a thing they used to be.
The bug guys.
Yeah,
Actually, we've had some in our neighborhood, several, now that I think about it, people,
Some lawn things.
lawn things.
Yeah.
Several lawn things.
well, it's only
and-
supposed to be
and-
transient, so like if they have a local business place somewhere in the area, they don't have to get this. This is like the college kids that used to sell books in the summer and stuff like that. where, they don't have an established place of business
Or
here.
if they're the bug guys out of New York.
And the asphalt guys out of wherever,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so there are some that
Yeah,
show up at your door,
yeah. Well, if they
Hey,
do,
we
we
got some
should.
leftover blacktop.
right?
I don't want it.
Yeah.
You sure?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Photocopying fees, we don't really.
Nobody does it.
Nobody does that. It's still, sometimes people will offer and we'll say, yeah, we'll take a quarter or 50 cents depending on, but most of the things we give people copies of are records that pertain to their property and stuff like that. Nobody comes in and asks you for, a pile of paper. You email it to them
Yeah.
nowadays, so they want to have it that way anyway. Plan Commission special meeting needs to go up to $350 then.
Yep.
Yep.
Right away is 55, permit is 55 for the base fee, 45 per boring, 220 for open cuts, 110 per lineal foot for trenching. If it's over 1,320 feet, vaults or other structures are 110, and the deposit, it says set by town board on a case-by-case basis, but Dan is doing those.
I've been saying that.
Is
Yeah.
that enough?
We should, I think the ordinance even kind of says that we probably should change the language in that fee schedule set by the highway superintendent on a case-by-case basis.
I go out and figure out what it's gonna cost, like dirt and seed and everything. Have you been getting any pushback on the 55 per feet? No.
Let's see, statement of real property status. They're all paid with requests for $25. We don't really invoice them anymore. If they don't pay us, we just wait till the money gets here so we don't have to mess around invoicing them. That is literally a 3-minute job for us to do the special assessment letters. They're not a big deal. This waste treatment disposal or storage site application fee, I don't think we've ever had one of those, but that's $250. That's just from the chapter 16. And that's it.
Okay. Any other changes? So what, we had 4 that we'll bring to the town board then?
Well, and I'll check with Nick on we got the change of land use, we got the change of land use, the concept plan, the plan commission special meeting, and the overweight bond, and I'll change that language on the right-of-way thing.
Okay,
So we'll
fine.
bring that to the next agenda, and I'll check with Nick in the meantime on the emergency apparatus stuff.
Okay,
All right.
all right. We done with fees? Go to discuss and consider approval of quotes for town hall keyless access.
I really liked that ESS security guy. He really seemed to know his stuff and to be reasonable about what we needed, I don't know how else to say it, but I really liked what he said.
Told us when we didn't need something.
When we did need something, yeah. And so they would basically, it's a follow-away lock, so we would keep the lock on the door that we have now, and so the door would essentially always be locked, but there'd be a follow-away plate behind it, and so when the door is open, we wouldn't even have to open the door at 8 o'clock. It would be programmed to open up at 8 o'clock and lock at 12:30, or however we program. But the really nice thing about it is that right now, besides the fact that we're sick of chasing keys, right now, anybody who has a key to use this room because their scout group has it Thursday nights or something, they can get in anytime.
Yeah.
And this would allow us to lock it right down and say, you can get in from 6 to 7 on Thursday nights, but the rest of the time your code doesn't work.
Right.
And I think that's huge.
Yeah.
For both buildings, for all the buildings. I mean, for here and Flynn Hall. We also did the back door on Flynn Hall, thinking that, and we had to get a new quote from Capital because they originally quoted the first door, but thinking that it's a lot easier to do that with that back door because it's just a single door, and anybody that's using it can go in the back door and open the door for their company to come in. So But anyway, ESS was less expensive, and I was quite impressed. And it's a cloud-based system, so it's something that from my cell phone, if if I forget to give someone a code and I find out that they need to get in, I can give them a code from anywhere. And then, if someone isn't supposed to get in anymore, we just wipe their code. If they only have a one-time use, it only works that one time.
It sounds smart.
It
Oh, that
really would
sounds
make a
great.
huge
Okay,
difference.
so if you have like a key like we have,
Mhm.
that you can get in Flint Hall
Yeah.
and here and
And
down the
so,
basement for the
yeah.
VFW or American Legion, how does that work?
So the key, it'd be the same, they're not gonna change the locks. So the only thing we would need to do is have a locksmith come out and all these doors, and I also realize that all the bottom doors work on the entry key too. So anybody who has a key, you got it.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't realize that either. So I found this ESS guy gave me the name of a locksmith that I checked with, and for $25 per lock, they can go rekey them back so only master keys work. Because we have entry keys and we have master keys, and then there's also a janitor key that like gets into the rooms inside for the janitor and for Jim. We can keep all those keys, but we need to rekey all those outdoor locks so that only the master keys work. And then we know, and we also know not only who can get in, but who gets in when, so there's just so much more control.
Good.
Is there fobs then or
No, I
nothing?
didn't want
It's still
fobs,
keys, right?
because I want to give,
Yeah.
if someone's renting, I want to give them a code, and I don't want to have to worry about chasing for a fob when they're done, yeah.
But our keys would still work.
Your keys will
Right.
still work, and so we would still use a master key to get in the back door, the master keys would still get in all these other doors, but the people, everybody else would come through the front door with a key pad.
A one-time lock or a one-time
Or-
or every Thursday
Yes.
code.
That
Yes.
sounds, it's like a lot better now. Or with this.
So how many would we have to have rekeyed?
So there's only 2 doors at Flint Hall,
All
right?
these,
But then there's 3 down here,
and then you just have the front door.
and the
open
front
already.
door and this one, I'll work on the entry key.
Yeah, but you're not gonna have keys at those, right? You'll just have the keypad at the front
Well,
doors.
probably they won't change that lock, will they? I don't think they're gonna change that lock, so
I
I was
guess not.
counting that.
Okay,
So there's 2 doors there,
but that one's gonna get blocked
the
off,
indoor,
right?
yeah.
Cause you gotta have that unlocked for the keypad to work.
Yeah, right. So 1, 2,
1, 2,
3, 4,
3,
5,
4.
6, maybe 7
Yeah.
of them. I think I factored that into the
So
price.
7 at 25, or
Yeah,
is that,
that's what they
yeah.
told me, 25 per lot.
that's minuscule to
Yeah,
the amount of security.
yeah.
Right.
We got any problems with security at Flint Hall or here?
Not that I know of, no, but there's a lot of lost,
We don't know
and
who's
when.
in and out.
there's a lot of lost entry keys, and I just don't like it that, like I said, that, once somebody has a key, they got open, they can get in anytime.
We get a lot of Flint Hall back door left unlocked.
Yeah,
We get a lot of that.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
That shouldn't be because all you have to do is flick the inside knob.
But people don't flip the inside knob?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's,
Yeah.
Oh,
but see, that would all be, as long as they lock the front when they leave, that would all be whatever time that they are done, it's locked.
Did you include the $20 monthly
I
billing
did,
in our budget?
yep, I did.
So would there be a motion to allow $7,000 for Flint Hall and for the town hall to
So moved.
be redone, plus the 175 for,
Rekeying everything.
yeah,
So moved.
motion by Duplay,
Second.
second by Williams. And are you getting the money, Mr. Duplay?
I'm not sure on that.
Take it out of undesignated funds.
Well,
please.
you do want to do it next year, right? So it's just in the budget, you don't have to, we'll put it in the building budgets.
You did put it in?
I have it in the building budgets,
Okay,
yeah.
See, I didn't have to make that.
then you
decision.
don't have to make.
or you just tell them, next year's budget.
There was a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Just so you know, I have it as a capital improvement to both the town hall and Flynn House, so it's in the capital budget for both of those buildings, and then the monthly fee is in the maintenance budget
Okay.
for each building.
Did the village pay a part of the Lynn Hall capital?
Oh,
No.
no, they
No.
don't, and they don't pay the maintenance either, they pay utilities, but I wouldn't call it that.
They figured out they had a pretty good deal,
Yeah.
finally,
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yes.
the village.
Oh,
Well, they wanted to pull out for a couple of years ago.
yeah.
Then we said you're gonna pay out of the area fee. Oh, Jesus.
They did take credit for some of the expenses at the chamber meeting last
Yeah.
Thursday.
surprise, surprise.
So then we're down to quotes for replaced furnace for the town garage.
And
You have high tech and you have,
Did we vote? about that one? Did we vote?
Yeah, we're-
Sorry.
you were silent.
took you as a yes.
You're right. I
You
am.
abstained.
So you have Wohlers and high tech. This is for in the town garage that does the lunchroom in
Yeah.
Dan's
area.
office.
Yeah.
I'd rather go with high tech just because they're doing all the maintenance.
It's cheaper.
Yeah, by a little bit.
Yeah.
I make a motion to take high tech.
Well,
Second.
do you guys like the 80% efficiency or do you like the high efficiency options? I'll throw that out there just before you do anything. So the top price is the 5,200, or that's for the 80% efficiency.
Which one did you put in the budget? The 48?
I didn't put either one of these in because these didn't come till I had packets
Okay.
practically out the door, so
Okay,
that's.
so for
Do the 96 at the 48, 59, 10. Is that
yes,
what the motion was?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
16% efficiency improvement
Yeah.
Well, it's
won't
gonna
take
save money.
long. Right, I'm just saying, it won't take long to
Yeah.
pay back the difference in cost.
And the furnace that's in there is 25 years old too, by the way.
Yeah,
So that's probably what, 70% maybe,
Yeah.
65?
Probably a 75.
It
Yeah.
was a darn good investment.
Are you going to do it this year or next year?
why don't we do it this year, if we got the money to do it, right?
Take it out of
Wouldn't you rather do that?
undesignated?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Motion
They
by
can stay
Foger,
warm.
second by Duplay to go with the 96% efficient furnace from High Tech for 48, 59, 10, with the money coming out of undesignated. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Purple Cow Yard Waste Agreement for 2025 through 27.
It's not bad.
How much are we paying right now, Dan?
$250 a year for the last 3 years, but
Yeah,
we were only paying for, so the first year we figured out how much we were taking in. We had no idea, right? So we only took in like 12 loads that first year. Last year we took in 52 loads.
Oh,
52?
Yeah,
Wow.
this year we're already at 50 and we have a couple weeks left. So,
Holy cow.
You ever catch anybody from
oh yeah, all the time.
Village or whatever?
Yeah,
I like cops.
it's what it is. We have people take theirs there. So
yeah.
Ooh. Not this gang.
I know there's town residents taking theirs up there too. So it don't matter. I don't know. I thought that looked like a pretty good price.
It is a good
Six,
price.
18,
That's a huge increase.
36.
Yeah,
Was that a motion, Steve?
Yes,
second.
I would accept it.
Motion by Anders, second by Williams to approve the 2025 through 27 agreement with Purple Cow Yard Waste. Any discussion on the motion?
Question, actually. Hey, Dan, in the event, say, come, say, September, just using it, we're over our 50 tons, are they gonna start charging us per ton afterwards, or just renegotiate the contract?
They never check us.
Oh,
So if we agree upon this, that's what we agreed upon that we're gonna
That's what
pay for
they'll
the next 3
charge
years.
And they're happy with everything that's coming
Yeah,
out of
we
it.
don't take brush. All we take
No, I
is
know.
compost, so I know Village takes brush, City of Mass takes brush, and they pay a little higher, well, a lot higher to take brush there. So,
We just burn our brush, right?
yeah.
I've got some extra brush for you.
That's all I have.
Did you put that in the budget anywhere?
Yes, that's in there.
Okay.
I think we can talk
All,
about it.
if there's no more discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Down to discuss and consider town budget for 2025. Revenue estimates.
Most of those, there's not a heck of a lot you can do about. The taxes are based on net new construction. I put a copy of the levy limit in, or I guess I didn't, but I sent you the link if you wanted to look at it, and Chris has one. It's based on net new construction, which was only about $11,000. And then the extra debt service that we have for all the borrowing that we did this year, which is about $600,000 worth of debt service. So that's what our levy is, the local tax number.
$1,916,98.
Yeah, which is,
Is what we can levy.
which is considerably higher than last year because of the debt service. The rest of it, private managed forest, nothing you can do about that. The payment in lieu of taxes, that's gone. There's none of that anymore. That was for the solar thing. This is, we have no payments left from the village on any land that was annexed. Those are all timed out.
5
So
years
that's
ago.
gone. Ag conversion charge isn't something we budget for. That's something that might come up sometimes. That's when they convert land from ag to residential or something, and they were only paying ag use charge, then they get caught by the county and they gotta make up the difference. Shared revenue, it's up a little bit. Fire insurance dues are just estimated based on last year. Those impact fees are ATC, that's the same every year. Local transportation aids, estimate has been received. Recycling grant is estimate from last year. Same with the payment in lieu of taxes for our state conservation land. Croplands and forest.
Oh, we get so much there.
Yeah. Personal property aid went up a little bit, but because personal property tax is gone now,
Mhm.
thank God.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Did you get payments?
I still have one that I haven't got, so
Give me a copy of it. I'll try it.
I tried something and it didn't work, so yeah. Tax exempt computer aid, that's a fixed amount. Bridge aid, that 71,000 is what Nick is telling us we're gonna get on the Vilas Culvert Bridge that was replaced this year.
Right.
So, that's not going through, we spent more this year, we'll get more back next year, so
Right.
that helps
What-
next year.
Question 2, December 31st, the 6 to 20 bridges, we're gonna be receiving our $100 per submittal. I think we had 13. So we'll get $1,300 from the county
This year?
next year.
Okay. So is that,
No, do we get it or does the county get it for doing it?
We get it, because we did it.
Oh, for what we did this year?
Our inventory, yep. But they won't do it until after December 31st.
Okay.
so what do we call, should we throw that in with bridge aid then?
6 to 20 small structure bridge.
All right,
So it's 1,800,
another 18.
No,
13.
13. I think
13?
there was only 13 structures that we had.
So, okay, so let me just figure out where I want to add that.
I think it's supposed to be after December 31st, because that's when you had to have them in by. So I don't think they were gonna cut any checks until after that.
1,300?
Yeah, should be.
Okay, I'll add that to that.
that a one-time shot?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just an inventory fee. So if we would have hired somebody to do it, they would have got the 1,300, but since we did it ourselves, so we get it. All it is measuring, that's all we had to do. Locate and measure.
Okay, moving on.
Let me just get that in there. So that brings that up to 72,688.53. All right, and then the LRIP, that's the, or TRIP is also known as, that's the money we have coming for Gaston, Bust, and Christie
Yeah.
next year. And Veterans Graves doesn't amount to much. That's an estimate from last year. The video service provider thing never changes, and we'll be done with ARPA funds. So that's all the intergovernmental stuff. So business and occupational licenses, that is like liquor licenses, mining fees, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if that'll might go up minusculely by the $30 charge for operators licenses, but I don't know if I would
I wouldn't change
change that much. Driveway permits, it depends on how many new houses get built. I mean, if we don't get very many new houses, it's not gonna be as much. It's 150 a house. I don't know if people have more than 750 worth next year or not.
And we'll get maybe a couple other slimes, right?
Yeah, and then, I guess if Kennedy Hills gets going, you'll get a bunch of them. So I don't know, that might be higher.
I'd leave it at 1,000.
Okay, or yeah, it's at 1,000, sorry.
I'd rather
Yeah, I
not
already said it.
overspend.
Building permits, that's another one that, if Kennedy Hills gets going, you'll have a lot of building permits. In '23, we had 59. This year, we're not gonna hit, I don't think we're gonna hit our budget, honestly.
I'd leave it at 55.
Okay.
You think we dare leave it? Bring it up that much? That's
Well, you're
10,000.
gonna have building permits down at Swalheim stuff, and you'll have, and I mean, if Kennedy Hills gets going, those houses will be starting next year, I would think. So I wouldn't feel too bad about that.
Okay, good.
It'll probably be more
It's a
than this.
wash.
It should be more than this year, I bet.
Good.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm sorry, zoning permits are down here. They're not up in the business and occupational. Oh, never mind. This is like the change of land use fees and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're gonna, do we have that many places, do you think, that are gonna wanna change? When we had a lot this year because of a new subdivision and Swalheim stuff, I guess, we have a couple other we think might be coming, but, okay, so leave that.
Yeah.
Right-of-way permits, we
it's
had
a
a
good
lot in
guess.
'23, but that was when all the fiber was still going in, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So.
Dog
Dog
license,
license, I wouldn't
mining
change.
permits, cable franchise fee.
Yeah, those are all estimates. So here's one, law and ordinance violations. I mean, we're already at 96,000. Danielle suggested 110. I don't know, that's what she suggested. That seems a little high to me, but it's assuming that we keep cooking along at the rate we are, I guess.
I would leave it at 110.
Yeah,
Okay.
nobody's slowing down, that's for sure.
Are you sure?
Streetlight charges, that's just what we pay for the streetlights, and we charge it back to the residents that benefit from them, so that's not gonna change. Refuse and recycling, that's based on the number of our current house count and Waste Management's
That's for-
2025 price.
For this year?
No, sorry, this is income. This is based on what we paid Waste Management this year.
This year,
Yeah, and that will be special charges on tax bills to all the residents.
right.
So they don't wash out like they used to because we're charging the residents in arrears and we're paying for the current year. So it's not a complete wash like it used to be.
Yeah.
Parks income, this was usually one that didn't have a budgeted amount, but we have been billing the soccer club every year for a portion of the treatment to this field back here. And then we expect to keep doing that, and we expect those treatments to go up a little bit next year. So I think we should budget that we're gonna have a couple $100 there.
That's fine.
Okay.
Title search, that's, who knows? Depends on how much people
never
buy and
know.
sell. This is one that I added too. This account wasn't in there before, but this is the money that we charge Houston's for the utilities and insurance for the old garage. The way it was accounted for was a negative against the expense, but it really should be showing as a revenue account. So I added a revenue account to account for that. So that's what we bill Houston's to cover the utilities insurance on that building.
Okay.
Developer reimbursements, this is an estimate from the attorney and planner from what they expect to charge
Kennedy Hills.
next year based on what we might have going on. So that's where that came from. Landfill compensation, I just did a 3% estimate based on what we got last year. That's about the best I can know.
Yeah.
Village fire, that's all calculated based on the fire budget.
Right.
The landfill is the village's portion of the strand bill. And it's calculated at about 40%, but there is, I don't know what percent it is, but we pay, there are town-only expenses, and then there are expenses that we split with the town and the village. And
Right.
we don't know exactly how that's gonna shake out, but this is the best estimate. Flint Hall reimbursement is what the village pays us for Flint Hall utilities. It's a third of what the committee agreed the maximum will be for the year.
Mm-hmm.
Village emergency building maintenance, that's 50% of the building budget, plus $10,000 to go into the fund, building repair fund. Pleasant Springs
How much?
10 or 20, yeah, that's right, it's 40. And Pleasant Springs reimbursements is their contract. Annexation reimbursements was the money that we got this year for the land, the road and part of the bridge that
Madison took.
Madison annexed, so that isn't typically a budget thing. Interest, I don't know, I think maybe this year we budgeted 70, we're at 135, but we aren't gonna have as much cash on hand going forward as we have other years, because we've had all that ARPA money sitting there and everything. I don't know, 100 might be too much there. I mean, we've had a higher fund balance, we've had the ARPA money sitting there. I don't know where to put that.
This year, 70 was budgeted.
I would leave it at 100.
Okay. Interest on special assessment charges, that's just,
Yeah, nothing.
nothing, yeah. Garage rent is per the lease.
Yeah.
Town hall rent is an
Town hall,
estimate based on
Flint
rentals.
Hall.
Flynn Hall rent, again, that's the rentals, town land leases per contract. Let's see. Sale of highway equipment, that's Dan's estimate of the 2010 International that we'll be selling.
Okay.
Flint Hall reimbursement Lions Club, that's the Lions Club's share of the utilities, plus they pay $30 a month towards the internet down there.
Yep.
Sale of recycling, that's just an average, sales tax.
Think you get 65 for that truck?
Yeah, should get more.
I think we will.
I've been watching surplus, they've been coming in a lot higher than that.
Really?
Yeah, trucks are selling good right now. Used trucks,
They are. Tom's been watching them too.
yeah.
Long-term debt proceeds, so you remember that this year you decided to buy that Western Star truck and you decided to pay for both the chassis and the equipment package from unassigned funds. However, the equipment package isn't gonna be here till next year, so you really should budget for that. And I would suggest that maybe you borrow for that and keep your unassigned funds not tied up that way, because your budgets are gonna get worse every year here. And I would suggest that maybe you borrow for that equipment package, which is 125,000.
Right.
So that's why I put it in long-term debt proceeds.
That makes sense.
Are you okay with that?
Yes.
So the unassigned monies, basically rainy day fund, right? That's a
Right.
percentage up to 15%.
It's supposed to be between 20 and 25, and you were, well, I put that fund balance thing in here, you can see where you were and what you spent. But like I said, looking at how tight the budget is getting, I wouldn't, this year we're still okay, but our increases are tiny. What we get for net new construction or anything like that, I would be kind of careful, and
Yeah.
you don't want to get into this, I don't think you want to get into the situation where you're borrowing for operating expenses.
No.
And one thing you can do is borrow for capital expenses and keep your fund balance for operating expenses
Yeah.
that come up. So that's what I would do,
That
but
makes sense to
But
me.
just remember, that 20-25%, that's just an accounting thing. It's not, there's no ordinance, nothing that says that. It's just an
Right.
accounting
It was our
term that we get
decision.
every year, and they say,
No,
oh, God, you have
no,
20%.
There is a board policy that says.
A board policy, yes.
Yeah.
Board
Right.
policy that says that.
So we'll put on a upcoming agenda to change that motion to borrow that Western Star equipment package next year rather than,
The 125.
If that's what you guys think, that's
Yeah.
just a
Yeah.
suggestion that I'm making.
rather than using undesignated. And we'll just have to think, do we want it for a year, 3 years, 5 years? What?
Usually you budget 5 years for the trucks, so.
You gotta remember that whatever you do, the debt service, so does you want all that debt service added in 1 year? Because then that does increase the levy, or do you wanna
Right.
spread that out? We usually do have a 5-year loan out there for a truck, and we got one that expires next year, and we don't have one to replace it, so.
Then we might need it.
So, I mean, so you can look at the debt service schedule and you can see that. All right, that's all your revenues.
Okay, expenses.
So the board salaries, I didn't change from last year because your per diems went up, but we also learned that you weren't supposed to be getting $50 for plan commission and emergency government meetings, so it kind of was gonna be fine, but I'm gonna have to think about that a little bit again now and put those back in there. At $50 for every meeting there and for the plan commission. We have that. Because your town board per diems are going up to 75 per the annual meeting. And then plan commission will go up to 50. And emergency government will go up to 50.
It doesn't go to 75 until the following year.
Right.
Oh, that's right.
It's only that 1,000 that'll go up next year sometime after the election.
Your salary.
And it's only for the three of them because they will be elected next year.
No, that's right. I think
No.
you postponed it, so you all got it at the
So
same
we all
time.
receive it at the same time.
So it isn't until we get elected then, or if
The
we get it.
following year, if we
Yeah.
get elected.
Just saying.
So
Right.
honestly, you're probably fine where it is then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll look at it again and make sure, but you're probably fine where it is. But the plan commission per diems are
And
gonna
it'll
go
all
up.
go up next year.
Let me look at that quick.
Board travel expenses were above our budget. Check.
Do, I travel for those landfill meetings, show up there?
Pardon? Yes, yes.
So that's why it's probably up, because I had to travel to all the landfill meetings for the new landfill.
Oh, I'm not saying anything, I don't.
Emergency, no, never mind. We'll talk about that when we get to it. So the plan commission wages I bumped up to 42. Their per diems, 4,200 for that $50. I left the board the way they are.
So you added $420 to it?
I multiplied 12 times 7 times 50 and I got 4,200, yeah.
Okay. And then the FICA and everything
Yeah, and
else.
that recalculated too, that's $321.30 now. And then emergency government wages, I mean, they don't meet every month, I can update that to 52, but then I don't know.
Not 6 months this past year, have we?
About that, you know.
So I don't know how many months you wanna budget for.
But we budgeted the same as we had last year, but we didn't spend it all.
No, I mean for your per diems, if you're gonna go up to 50, so if you got 5 people, so 50 times 5 times 12.
250.
I'd make it probably 7 meetings or 9 meetings out of 12. $250 times 9.
What did I have it at? I think it's already higher. Yeah, that's only 2250. But, I mean, if you look at where you are, what you've spent the last few years, it's okay, so I'll leave it at that.
2250.
2250, so FICA is 172.13. Office supplies has kind of been the same forever. I don't know. We don't usually spend it all, but I hate to give it up if we need it too.
If
Yeah.
something
Are you gonna
goes,
have
you're gonna need
Office
it.
equipment maintenance, that's, that is where the lease for the copier comes out of.
Yeah,
Office equipment purchases, that's one that just kind of sits out there to
I would leave it at 2.
cover whatever might break.
You gonna need any computers this year?
I don't think so, because we still have a computer sitting on Chris's desk that nobody's using, that's for all practical purposes new.
If one dies.
So, yeah,
Perfect.
because that was the one Deb had at home,
Yeah.
so, yeah, I don't think so. I added a clerk's cell phone,
Yeah.
that's my yearly, monthly bill.
IT
IT
support.
is going up quite a bit, the town web went up, is the big thing in there. And then Horseman just realized that they've been undercharging us by one computer for what they're maintaining, so that went up by a little bit, they don't charge us very much. The wages are all in here, as we already discussed. Other office expenses, I don't even know what's in that, to tell you the truth, but miscellaneous stuff. I added a clerk's office continuing ed because it's always just been, if I go to any training, it's been going to town board.
Yeah,
And so I moved that out and just put $100 in there that we can go to training for something every year.
that's fine.
Good idea.
My health insurance last year was overestimated. I thought that I was going to be able to get a better health insurance contribution when I worked more than my hours than, because everything's supposed to be prorated. And so, and the state says, no, it's the same no matter, I only get one rate. So mine was overestimated last year, so that's why that went down, but health insurance obviously did go up. My wage also went down a little bit because I had hours in there for an election year and also figuring that I still might need some extra time to figure out the combination of the clerk and the treasurer, but I think that's calmed down. So I took my hours down about 100 hours for the year
You mastered it.
compared to last year. So that brings down the retirement and all that. Longevity is just years of service, FICA. So that's all the clerk's office stuff. Election worker wages, I just went down close to what we did
Don't
2
have
years
one.
ago. Because there's at most 2 elections.
Yeah.
No treasurer wages. There still is a little bit of treasurer supplies. It's like tax forms
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff. Assessor is contractual. I think this is
Contract.
the last year, so we'll have to remember to look into that. Same thing with, the audit is maybe the last year. That accounting service is QuickBooks, which is getting so expensive, but there's nothing else out there any better. You're kind of at their mercy. We are using the desktop enterprise version, which is the most deluxe version, but the only other version, they charge you per employee for every paycheck, and by the time you do that, it goes over this. And I'm not going to online. I got tricked into going to the online version for Tom's business at home, and it is a nightmare. Not doing that. So that is what it is.
Judicial.
These were all numbers from Net Danielle with the court clerk salary filled in per the wage page.
Okay.
Legal expenses were from Bill.
Yep.
Insurance, they told me to estimate 5%, but of course we never know for sure.
Right.
Town hall utilities, I did, like I talked to earlier, I bumped that up a little bit because I told
Somebody's
Chris
here.
that.
Hello.
Should be looking for.
I just was looking to ask a question, actually.
Go to the town board.
Yeah, so, it's wrong for voting question. Did we do it in here? Okay.
And we can vote here.
Perfect, thank you. I appreciate you. Sorry to interrupt, so
No worries.
No problem.
have a good night.
He's a resident.
That's what I asked them.
Okay. Town hall utilities, maintenance, equipment, supplies, all
Yeah, I
okay?
bumped, compared to what you were seeing here, did I tell Chris this or did I tell you all this about splitting the line of the host my SIP? So when you, oh yeah, we just talked about that. So I'm gonna split the 184.50 over the 5 lines that we have. So I didn't have that accounted for in here. So town hall utilities is gonna be more like 63.50 by the time I do that. 'Cause the phone's gonna be not quite as much saving as I had in there because I was only counting our lines, not the fact that we were gonna pay for the other ones too. So 63.50 for that. The rest is all what you see.
Flint Hall's okay.
And Hall is, yeah. Oh, those are my best estimates. We've never had any money in here at all for the 4091 County End maintenance. I just stuck $500 in there. I don't know if you want anything in there if something comes up or not.
Some point we'll have to do the roof.
I do have that back in here. That is in here as a
The roof
capital
is?
expense.
Usually, if we have to replace a light or whatever, I just take that out of my shop budget.
Okay.
That's how I've done it in the past.
I can take it back out if you don't want it. I just thought, there's never been anything in there. Like this year, we had $2,500 worth of expenses. What was that?
I don't know, was that the leak, the fix of the roof? The leak in the roof?
Yes,
Yeah, that's what it was.
this spring we had
Okay.
that roofing place,
Yeah, they had
Yeah.
they found the 10 holes in that back corner.
right.
Do you want me to take that 500 out or?
I just leave it in there.
Okay. Sheriff's contract, we got the estimate. I don't think they've done all their labor negotiations yet, so I'm not sure that,
Well, there's no increase in labor. They're not taking a wage increase. They're taking it in health insurance payments.
okay. So this is the last number I got from him. I don't know if there's any
I
updates.
think that should be correct,
Okay.
because health insurance took such a jump for them this year that they're foregoing any wage increase to keep their insurance what it had been.
Okay.
For that more money, they can always work all the overtime that's available out there.
Good point.
Well,
Yeah.
the board wants to cut 2 positions, I think it is.
So sheriff's department?
Yeah,
County board.
they have 30 that they haven't been able to fill yet. They want to cut 2 of those.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know if they'll get through the county board or what they'll do, but
So, the lease is the lease. Utilities, I bumped up a little bit compared to last year because you see in 23 we were over. I don't expect it to go down any.
no.
Janitorial, that's the estimate, that's based on Crystal Cleaners.
Crystal,
The maintenance, I don't know can't remember what we did there, but 1,500 has been pretty typical what we've budgeted.
had the plumber there.
So,
Yeah, and so we did a bunch of light work too, didn't we?
Taxes are the taxes that we pay on the building at the end of the year.
Yeah,
So that's as close as I know at this point. Income,
income went up.
fuel, I took down $1,000 because we had 13 this year. We only spent 11,600 last year and we're only at 7,100 this year. So I don't know. I don't know if you're comfortable with taking it down to 12 or not, but
I would think so, since we're at 7 something right now.
Squeak here and there.
supplies is just something in case they need something, and their communications went down because of the discount on the trade-ins for the cell phones. They'll have a credit for part of next year. Emergency building maintenance, that's the committee's budget. So the fire department, all the fire stuff is the fire department's budget. EMS is the EMS's budget, that's the operating part you see on that line, the capital is below, same for fire. Fire inspection, I split out, we used to just have one line item, I split it out into Town of Cottage Grove and Town of Pleasant Springs, because we get billed for all that, and then what we've been doing is using the Town of Pleasant Springs funds to pay for the Pleasant Springs inspection. So I split it out, and then you'll see later in the budget that I budgeted to use that $690 of the Town of Pleasant Springs fund balance to pay for those inspections. Building inspection, I don't know. Last year we were at 50. We budgeted 45 this year, we're currently only at 23. again, it's been a slower year for building, but next year could be bigger again with some of the things that are coming. Highway maintenance, health insurance, longevity, wages, all that stuff is all from the wages page, and the rest is all Dan's.
I left gravel. We went over a little bit this year, but I think we'll return back to normal next year. A little bit. We had a little extra shouldering this year with up off road. Contractor, I think we figured out we use that more than we thought.
Oh, I did something there too, though. We've been, whenever there've been, engineering bills for developments, we've put them to this contractor expense, which is a highway category, and it goes against his budget. That isn't right. So you'll see later, I put it under town planner and I added a new category that is development expenses, and that's where I'm basically gonna put the engineering expenses that are related to developments, so that they're not hitting the highway budget, because they are not highway expenses, they're development expenses.
Right.
So I guess with that said, if we have to, we can lower that a little bit if we need to. Because basically all I use that for is tree trimming and culvert installation, hiring an excavator. And then salt, that'll cover everything. We have an order plus brine this year. Salt did go up a little bit, but we only contracted 250 ton. And I'm not planning on buying any sand this year because we have so much salt. I have the bunker full and the shed full, so yeah, we have a lot on hand from
And
last
you're
year.
gonna use that pre-coat.
Yeah, the brine, yep, and that's figured in. I get that all. And plus, if we have to buy in the open market, I'll have a little extra money, but patch, I went up 1,000 just because that seems to be getting more expensive. Crack filler, I stayed at 32,000. That seems to be good. Chip, seal coating, it's 80. That seems to be good. We went over last year because we added something at the last minute, I think. Road signs. Single cow killed us this year. So that detour, we had to add all those signs.
Oh,
That killed us. But I say 6,000 is plenty for what we normally do.
Mm-hmm.
Bridge expense, that's just our inspections and stuff like that, so that should be plenty. Tire purchase, I don't see anything out of the ordinary next year. That should cover, I think we're gonna maybe need 2 tractor tires, but I doubt it. We'll see if that comes up, but I'm sure truck tires somewhere. Equipment repair and maintenance, we lowered that a few years ago. Just because it's, we gotta pay for it anyway, right? But hopefully we'll return to normal next year with a new truck and cycle, and we'll get rid of that 2010. It's been costing us a ton of money. Most of that 26,000 is, well, I'd say 19,000 of it's all that 2010.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. What kind of stuff was it that went bad on it?
EGR again this year. An EGR valve.
Back on bridge expense, do we have inspections next year for bridges?
Every year,
Yeah.
isn't it?
yeah,
It's every year. Bridge
that's
inspection?
what I was asking you about, yeah.
Well, we'll have the 6 to 20 next year. What to pay for, right? Because county's doing that inspection for us.
Right.
And then we'll have a normal annual bridge inspection, which we haven't got the bill for that yet because it's not on here. It's at $0. I think, what was it coming in? What was that? We just got the agreement for,
I thought they did bridge inspection every other year.
we just signed a new agreement. I saw that email come through that
Yeah.
you guys got it. You forwarded that one to me.
2024 bridge inspections, I have a document, this is way from back in March.
That's this year. That's this year's inspections are gonna happen. They just did it like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
So, this is 20, I looked at this the other day, but I don't remember what it said here. 24, 25, greater than 20-foot span bridge inspection requirements. In accordance with statute, all municipal bridges with a span length greater than 20 feet need to be inspected in accordance with WISDOT policies. Bridges for your, any bridges scheduled to be, oh, yeah, okay, so I think they do it every year.
I think they do too. I think it's like $1,700 if I remember right.
It says that estimated cost of bridge inspections is $400 per bridge for routine inspections, $2,000 for bridge or underwater dive inspections, $2,000 for all this other stuff. But
Well, if it's $400 per inspection, then it should cost us like $4,000.
and then they got at the end this agreement that we signed. There's 7 inspections at $400, which is $2,800, and then total estimated cost per estimate sheets, detailed and advised, is $3,800. So that's what I was asking you.
Should be like $4,000, yeah.
And you got that in here already, right?
Yeah, that's part of
That's
the
all
six.
part
That's
of
part of
your-
the $6,000.
Part of the
You
six.
Yeah. And then usually, so like we got a 6 to 20 this year inspection coming. That's the new one that we have to pay for, and I don't know the cost of that.
I didn't think we get billed for it, the county gets
Well-
billed for it. Or they
Yeah,
bill
but-
for it and they get paid for it.
They're doing the inspection. They're not gonna get billed for it. We're gonna get billed for it. Cause they're doing our inspections.
For us, and we just turn the money over to them.
Maybe the first year, but the way I read it is we're gonna get charged for it. They just didn't know a cost at this moment. Cause we had 13 of those, so,
Okay.
but I don't know, I don't know what that'll be. Hopefully nothing, but that's why I got 6,000 to compensate for all that. Where are we at? Equipment repair, garage utilities. We've kind of left that to where it is.
Yeah,
Garage maintenance and repairs, you guys are gonna pay for that furnace.
That's a capital.
Yeah, so that doesn't
And
need to
that's
come out
this
of
year.
there.
That's
Yeah,
this year.
I don't know, that could come down a little bit next year too, I guess.
you wanna change that 6,000?
Yeah, we can lower that a little bit. We got all new garage doors now and openers.
Looking, I have all the history of all these line items for several years, and so like 23, it was 4,600, 22, it was 4,700.
Yeah, I don't think we ever go over 5.
20 and 21 were 7,000.
That was garage door year.
Okay, and then 2019 was 12,000, so it has been more, but recent years haven't been over 5.
You wanna move it to 5?
I would say so. Yeah, I think we'll be fine there. And garage equipment and supplies, that's all the stuff that we use on a daily basis every time we need bolts or whatever.
Yeah.
Anything like that. And fuel, I don't know, hopefully it goes down, but I kinda think we might go up. I don't know.
I guess.
Next week.
Yeah.
Depends on how much snow you have to plow.
Yep. Drug and alcohol, same. Culvert expense. I went
We
up.
got notice on testing
We
it
haven't
all.
we haven't had any hits.
Not a while. Justin and Dan were the last ones
Yeah,
a quarter ago. Yeah, culverts are going up. I did the 12,000 again. I estimate that we have 4 next year right now to replace, so I think that should cover it.
Where are those 4?
What's that?
Where are those 4 gonna be at?
There's some up Lane Street and up that way, Gaston, and a couple other areas there. Can't think of all of them right off the top of my head for some reason. Center striping, that should cover all of our costs for paint and stuff again.
we gonna do more next year?
Yeah, we'll have more to do because gas and stuff's getting redone, so there'll be a couple miles of center striping to do. Plus, I gotta buy a little more glass next year. We found out we use more glass than we thought.
Should it be increased?
No, that'll be plenty. I got, we have a
Okay,
six buckets left from this year. That'll be reused, so non-opened. And then stormwater expense.
Stormwater,
that's
I put
Chuck's.
in, that's Chuck and your permit fee,
from Chuck Nan,
yeah.
yeah.
And education, I wanna get the guys, they haven't done one of the trainings yet, so $350 will cover them to get that done next year. It sounds like they're getting back to doing education now that COVID's kinda over.
Okay,
And then the GIS mapping covers our expense for our computer stuff, doesn't it?
It
Isn't that what that's
covers, it
for?
covers our subscription to ArcGIS plus your iPad.
Yeah. And then street lighting costs.
So highway maintenance, I have in there 350, the usual 350 that we have been doing, plus the 17 that is covered by the LRIP funds.
something I'd like us to start thinking about in the future, when we overlay a road, we've just been going right over whatever's there. And what happens in a year or two later, we see all the cracks come back. I think we should start considering grinding it and then putting down,
Pulverize. So you pulverize the pavement.
pulverize it.
Yeah.
It'll cost us more, but I think
It might last longer.
yeah, we are gonna get those same cracks and divots that were there before coming right back up through the new blacktop.
Think about it this way, all the blacktop that you see there now, they grind it up, right? And they put that back on the road as base. So they roll it down. It makes a stronger road.
Yeah,
And for anything like that.
if you're interested in seeing what's done, the part of Shadle Road that's in Pleasant Springs, that's what they did this year. They pulverized it, regraded it, and then blacktopped it.
It's probably the only road in this area that's been done in a while.
And
No.
that's Shadle.
Yeah,
Because Deerfield mills, they don't pulverize. They just mill off 1.5 inches and then relay it, basically. They don't mill, they don't do the
go all
whole
the way
thing.
through.
But that was actually milled all the way down to the base and
Yeah,
done right.
so keep that in mind for future.
So you can come back to that number if we, need to find or spend something. Non-highway wages, that's all from the wages. Refuse and recycling, those are based on the current house count and waste management's 2025 price.
Right,
Compost collection, that's the price for Purple Cow plus the Ring camera and what else? And then $200 of miscellaneous in case you need to buy something to make that compost site go.
Signs or something.
Yeah. Landfill, that's all based on,
turns the fuel to it.
yeah.
I doubt that'll cover it.
Yeah,
Landfill is all Strand contract. Park expense, we did not have a Parks Committee meeting this year. What's in that 10.5 is $5,500 for lawn service, $2,000 for miscellaneous, and $3,000 for trees. Is that right, Dan? Is that
Yep.
what you were expecting?
Yep,
did you get your things ordered then for this year?
I will. I haven't yet. We were just talking about that today again. The Frisbee golf baskets.
You got people waiting for those, man, come on.
What's that?
We have people waiting for those.
Yeah.
Seriously?
I see them in village parks and I see them getting used all the time. Yeah.
My son will be out there.
Just get it done.
I know.
Where do they have them in the village?
There's 2 parks of them in the village.
Oh, really?
Yeah, is it the one community park, I think it's called?
Oh, okay.
There's 1 or 2 there.
Okay.
And then there's one over on West Lawn, I think it's called, or something like that.
We're paying for, what was this about?
All the things I gotta order this year yet, Frisbee golf, baskets,
Oh, baskets?
goals.
All goals, okay.
It's a post with
Okay.
a net thing on it,
Chain net, yeah.
chain net.
Colonial
Colonial
Club.
Club, they asked for the same thing. I did give you a copy of their letter. I thought you might be interested in seeing what they had to say. in there.
Yeah.
Veterans graves paid, that's the veteran grave care income that we get, that we pay out to Hope Cemetery. Because they do the actual care there. Then you got Yahara Winds, you got the town planner, which is Mark Roffer's stuff. I added another, last year we added another town planner other because, what was in there? Fly Dane or something was in there one year, but, that's MPO in there. The 1425 is essentially MPO in there.
Where is that?
Town planning other.
Okay,
So
thank
it
you.
used to be in the town planner, and then you couldn't differentiate between what was actually planning and what was that. And then I added this reimbursable development expense, and that's where I'm gonna put development expenses that are, like the engineer and things like that, that we used to be putting into other parts of our budget that weren't really under planning. The legal expenses will still go to the legal,
Yeah.
but this will be down here. So there's no budget for it, but there may be money in there, and then we'll have revenue to offset it when I bill the developers for it. Let's see. So here is your 4091 County End capital outlay. That is the quote that we had to permaseal the roof there.
Redoing the flat roof.
So that one you should, I don't know if that quote's ever been accepted. If it, we'll have to put that on an agenda if you really want to do that.
Yeah.
You want to leave it in there or no?
Leave it in.
Okay. Town hall capital outlay, that's the keyless entry. Fire protection capital outlay, that's from the fire. Budget, fire protection building outlay is from the emergency services building budget. Highway equipment capital outlay, that is the equipment package for the Western Star
Western
that
Star.
we talked about. And then EMS capital outlay is our portion of the new ambulance, and Flynn Hall is the keyless entry. So your debt service, there is your long-term loans. And then you also have short-term debt service of about a little over 300,000 down lower. That is for the short-term note that you got for this year's road maintenance projects. Capital lease is the copier. And then proceeds of short-term notes, that would be next year's short-term note to cover road maintenance projects. So again, this one and the highway maintenance projects are the ones that you can fiddle with if you want to. And then I have the fund balance, use of fund balances. The only thing I actually have budgeted for is $690 to cover the Pleasant Springs fire inspections coming out of the Pleasant Springs fire funds. And then contributions to fund balance. So next year's whole payment from Pleasant Springs will go into that fund, and $40,000, 20 from the town and 20 from the village will go into the emergency services building fund. And then you got your debt service for short-term notes down there and other expenses. So that's the payment on the short-term loan for this year's road maintenance projects. So after the changes that I made talking tonight here, I'm at $100,140 that you could still spend.
Give me that again.
$100,140.
For what? What's that?
That's what you still could spend. That's,
That we haven't spent.
yeah. That's a positive net change in fund balance, which means that should be zero. You're supposed to have a zero budget, but you're ahead by 100,000.
But the total revenue is 3,641,494. Total expenses are 3,476,365. Is that correct?
336. Yes, but then you have your other income and expenses. So your other income of $350,000 from a loan and other expense, which is the payment to pay off this year's short-term note. So
Okay, so then
actually they pretty much wash out.
when you get to town,
So you get to the bottom
Levy.
line, the very bottom line, net change in fund balance, it was like 99 or something in your packet, it's 100 now.
From what changes we made.
Yep.
so town mill rate is gonna go up.
That's gonna go up because of the levy, yep. Because your levy is going up to cover all that debt service. You could levy less,
Oh,
you could levy $100,000, yes, but less, but that's gonna haunt you forever because that affects
You'll never get it
future
back.
levies. And once you give that up, yeah,
Well, that's, I don't know if we want to go down that.
Nope.
But
I don't.
but you're looking for the taxpayer is gonna pay quite a bit more.
yep. But that's because of all the debt that you took on this year.
Because we wanna keep our fund at
That's not gonna make a pension, you
Well-
know what?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
The,
so if you look at your fund balances, okay? Look at, let's see. Do I have unsigned on there?
I didn't think so. I didn't see it. I don't know.
No, I thought I
No,
did.
it's not in there.
All right, let me pull that up. You didn't pull down far enough when I printed it.
This sheet.
Yeah, but I must not have printed a big enough part of it because unassigned was supposed to be on the bottom of that. Let me pull that up.
okay. Did I get home on? Yeah. Right?
No.
No,
I have
this one.
this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mike, you think you had this, it's in your packet.
I do?
Right there. Oh, excuse me.
And we want to use up all of the ARPA that we can this year.
Yes, so looking at ARPA, and we'll need to put this on an agenda yet, but last year in the budget, let me just get my brain on first here. So what's left in ARPA right now is 7196.53. That's what is not spent yet. We still have approximately $3,000 of outfitting of Squad 1 that you guys had budgeted to come from ARPA. And then the rest, if you remember back to last year when we were trying to figure out how to use all the ARPA up, there was a little smidge left and we said, let's use it on the town hall roof. Well, it was only like $946 then, but some other things came in under budget. Some of the other projects did. So there's really $4,000 left there. Depending on what the Squad 1 expenses do, which are supposed to still happen this year. So if you want to just leave that and apply it to the town hall roof, you can do that too. But we'll have to talk about that at a different meeting, and hopefully once we know what the final squad one outfitting is and all that. Or you could use it for something else. I mean, apply it to something else that I don't know. But that's where it was applied based on last year's budget.
So is it $4,170 that we have left to spend?
Well, you budgeted 946 for the town hall, because that was the original
Yeah,
residual. And then some things came in less, some of the other projects, remember the
Right.
radios came in less, and something else came in a little bit less, and so we ended up having more than we thought. So, basically, 4170 minus 946 or something like that is really what was like more than what you had in last year's budget to use it for. So
I'm wondering, instead of using undesignated funds for your furnace, should we use that ARPA
Yeah, sure.
fund now?
okay,
Yeah, might
Use,
do
So-
it.
use that
Yeah, let's do it.
this year and get
Yeah, might as
that
well,
gone
yeah.
and be done with it.
so that was 48.
You can take that out of the undesignated fund somewhere, right?
So whatever the squad one outfitting comes out, and then use what's left towards this furnace, and if it doesn't cover it, use unassigned.
Yeah.
Yes,
Correct.
Okay.
that was my motion.
Second.
Well, I think we're gonna have to, I think we should have
Do it
an agenda
Monday
item
or-
to finalize, so this
next-
ARPA is really cut and
Okay.
dried.
All right. I didn't make that motion then.
No,
Make sure you guys are writing down all the stuff that needs to go on agendas.
okay, so our expenditures are 3 million something, then with an additional 376,000, is that what?
Let me put this up here, because you wanted to know where the unassigned fund balance was. And I thought I printed that, but it's on the bottom part of it, so it didn't come out of that, right? There's nothing on there about unassigned funds?
No.
Yeah, okay, let me share this.
But earlier you mentioned 100,000, 140.
All right, so if you can follow my logic here. The first line on the top is the unassigned fund balance as of the December 2023 audit, 1.6 million. Bigger.
What page are we looking at? What are we looking
You're
at?
looking
Up on
at
the
the
screen up
screen.
there.
No, up there.
So you had 1.6. 24 budgeted expenses were 4.5 million. That was 36% of the 24 budgeted expenses. I know your policy says it should be 20 to 25. So if you wanted to keep it at 25%, you had 518 too much. If you wanted to keep it at 20%, you had 744 too much. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so the 2020, in 2024, down here, you said spend 134,000 of it on the chassis for the Western Star truck. You said spend 99,000 of it on the F-550. And you said spend 125,000 on the equipment package for the Western Star. That didn't come this year.
No, so
And
we're
then there
taking
was
that
That
out.
off-road speed study. So, so if we take that out, so if we leave it in there, okay, the 24 allocations were 361,000. And so at 25%, you still had another 150. At 20%, you still had another 382. If we take that out though, those numbers, oh, this isn't where I want to do that. Hold on. if we take that out of there, then you have somewhere between 282 and 508,000 that you could still use for something else. So, but we don't know how this budget's gonna end up. We don't know, I'm leery about spending that down too much, just looking forward, I feel like you're getting through this budget and you actually have money to spare, but the way things are going up in price, you're gonna come to a point where you're gonna start running out of money for operating expenses if you're not careful.
Well, that's when you collect the money. I mean, I just, to the point,
You can't,
a budget for today is a budget for today.
you can't
And
just
one
collect,
for next year is for next year.
but you can't just collect the money. Remember, the only way to get it is in your levy, and your levy only goes up for net new construction, which this year was $11,000. If all we had was net new construction.
Yes, okay,
You
so,
would have had 11,000 more than last year, or debt service, and you don't want to start borrowing to cover operating expenses.
No.
but for this, just look at total expenditures. This year was 4,571,000. Is that the total for 24?
Yeah.
But where are
For
you,
everything?
where are you getting this number?
That's where it says total expenditures.
It was just on your screen back
Okay,
there.
right down here,
Yeah.
yeah.
4,571,000.
Yeah.
That's the,
That's-
the
And
estimate.
this coming
Well,
year was 3,476,000.
Yep, because we didn't, last year, look at some of the items like capital outlay, we spent a bunch of money on stuff that we borrowed for.
Right.
Yeah, but I understand that, but the total revenue is 3,641.
For two, yeah.
Well, so that's more than 3,476. You get what I'm saying?
No.
Well, I'm looking at page 4, it says total revenue
Yep,
for 2025,
yep.
36,41494.
Oh, okay, that's probably a little different than what I have up here because. we
Okay, but
changed
then
a
I
couple
go
things.
to expenditures,
Yep,
3,476,365.
yep,
So why would the mill rate go up? If we've,
because the mill rate doesn't have anything to
but
do with
yeah, but
those
see,
two
but
numbers.
that's,
The mill rate
it's,
is,
the amount of money is what we base the mill rate on, correct?
mill rate is based on last year's levy plus net new construction plus plus debt service. It's not based on revenue or expense at all.
Okay,
It's-
the debt service is added on,
The debt service is added on to
but
the
see, that
levy.
doesn't explain it very well to me. I just,
Do you want to see the levy limit worksheet? Give that to him. Chris has it, has a hard copy of it.
total expenditures on here are
Am I missing, is anybody else missing or getting what he's asking and I'm just not catching it?
well, I'm just saying is we're taking in more money than we're gonna spend.
You're taking
Is that
in-
not correct?
Well, you haven't budget, you do have 100,000 that you can still spend based on the levy limit worksheet, based on the levy. Yes,
$100,140.
Yeah. That's that's what I'm questioning. And then, but yet the town mill rate's gonna go up by 0.5.
Because of all the money we borrowed.
That's what I'm asking you.
you could choose to not use your full allowable levy limit, but that
Correct.
will have future implications.
No, I don't wanna do
that
that.
you-
What's our rainy day fund right now? Our
Your unassigned fund,
unassigned?
that's what I just had up.
It's between 4 and 7.
1 point.
Somewhere between,
20%, 25%, what is it?
so
36% was what
It's
Jim
more,
said.
it's, I don't have that calculation here, but right now, if you want to stay, you have 282,000. I haven't got the, what did you just add?
She's saying
something?
36%.
That's what it was at the end of 2023.
Right.
But
Okay.
then you
Yes.
spent some money. You bought the Western Patrol chassis, you
And the
bought the
550.
Got
F-550.
it. I know that.
So you spent about 235,000 of it.
Mhm.
And so I guess I haven't got the calculation in there of what percent that is anymore, but I just figured out like how much more could you spend if you wanted to and still stay at 25 or 20%. And you could still spend 280 to 508,000 and stay between 20 and 25%. So you do have money there,
The
but
money, that's all I'm saying.
yeah,
But it's not much though, Mike.
That's
It's not-
plenty. That's plenty.
No, it's
When you-
not.
It's plenty when you raise the mill rate this much. I'm gonna have to answer to people why the mill rate went up so much.
mill rate, like I said, your mill rate, you see that, how it's calculated. And that has nothing to do with your budget anymore.
But it's based on assessed valuation or the mill rate. That's where things go up. Either we get somebody with the mill rate or we get them for assessed valuation. And then the next year we get them for mill rate, and the next year you get them for assessed valuation.
The only way to reduce the mill rate is to reduce the levy. And so you can do that. You cannot use your full levy. You'll just need to realize that there will be future implications of that. You won't get that back.
So
So
if things go up 10%
Yeah.
next year,
Mhm.
I don't wanna do that. I
I
don't
don't
wanna,
want either. On our agenda, we have use of surplus funds
what's that?
on our agenda for tonight. May I make a suggestion?
As far as,
Yeah.
Is that okay, or, yes? Okay. June 17th, we had Kathy Coons from Dane County. And she talked about the opportunity for solar panels that will take away our dependence on fossil fuels. It would be a fiscally conservative investment today that will save our taxpayers money in the future. And this is really an incredible window right now that she told us about, the 30% across the top refund for making the investment. So since that time, I have spent a lot of time looking at that website. I looked at all of the solar projects that are about the size that she was predicting that we would want for the garage and for the town hall. And wrote them all down for the last 5 years, who did the year they were done, the size, the solar company, funds that they used for it. And then I condensed it to the last 3 years and contacted the project to learn more about their experience, to try and get a sense for it. And then contacted 6 different suppliers. 3 got back to me, and I asked them if they would give us a proposal, what they would suggest for the town hall and for the town garage. And they came out. Chris came. Chris has been aware of this. I have not taken any per diems for this. This is something I've been doing to try and give us a choice. And we did get 3 proposals.
2.
Glow Solar,
one
Full
company had
spectrum.
2, right?
pardon,
One company had 2 different proposals,
Right.
right?
and Midwest Solar. And Chris and I met yesterday, and we have a recommendation for Midwest Solar that could qualify for the 30% that would be back. I think it is it's an opportunity that we might not have again,
Why do you say that?
because I don't think that 30% rebate is going to be around long. And certainly not depending on the election next week.
What's the payback?
It varies. Chris has it.
It's, the one for the system cost for the town hall is 28,000, and you get, just under 9,000 back in, federal tax credit and cash back. That brings it to 19,243. And our average town hall expenses, say 3,400 a year for electricity.
At the current,
We're gonna pay 19,000.
You'd pay 19,000, and if you pay 34, now it's gonna be payback in 6 years.
See, this is like a TIF district.
What was the,
Yeah, but why not take advantage of it?
isn't
Well-
there a percentage of the energy that it replaces though? It's not quite 100%.
It is
Correct.
not. It's about 85.
But
At
as
the
I talked
current-
to, you know,
compensation rates, which are subject to change.
Right. And
And I have read where, as more people are going solar, the power companies are reimbursing at a lower per kilowatt rate. So, it may be, we don't know.
well, that's one
Yeah.
reason she recommended we don't try and do the 100% because we don't want to be paying interest or, paying for a lot more that the company's not going to pay us back for over what we would use. So,
Panels are made in Switzerland. They would attach to the two roofs without penetrating the roof. Because I thought that was important, that
We don't.
Since
drill
we have
holes
two
in the
new
roof.
exactly.
systems on it don't penetrate it.
Exactly. So one of the things that Midwest Solar said to us that I thought was important was that whether or not we do solar, they highly recommend that we update the panel box that we have, which is original when this was built. And it needs, for safety purposes, for all of us to update that. And the price that they are quoting includes that update. And he said there's a good chance that we could get it done cheaper, like if we were to contact Electrical Solutions. I mean,
Yeah, I
that's
don't know.
one.
That's who
ask.
we've used in the past for most of our electrical work. When we remodeled here and at the fire station. I don't think we've done any over in your garage where we had Electrical Solutions come in.
Not in a while.
Yeah,
It's also possible that we could get additional grants to further reduce our cost. I contacted Kathy again, and she said that the Public Service Commission has in the past opened up an opportunity for grants, further grants. And that was what the Monona Grove School District used when they put solar panels on the roof. And Cindy Kelm Nelson from the village wrote the grant applications for that and for the villages. And she has offered to write the grant applications for us.
what did they get?
The exact amount.
Well, within reason, so I get,
According to Peter Sobel from the Monona Grove School Board, he said that between the grants, the payback, and the lower, very favorable interest rate that they got for the loan to purchase the solar panels, the savings on electricity is coming close to paying off their loan. So I can find out exactly.
well, I mean,
He didn't.
I would think if, she was on the school board, right?
Cindy was not.
The one that's,
Peter was.
Peter was
Oh,
on,
Peter was, okay.
Peter was on the school board.
but you
Cindy
said that girl wrote the,
is
and
a-
she doesn't know how much,
I didn't ask her.
oh.
I
okay.
did not ask
Well,
her.
that's important figures,
I can ask her for next time. I wasn't sure we were going to be willing to entertain this, so I didn't get the
I'm all
exact.
for it.
Does anyone know what it costs to put the solar at the new school?
I don't.
Panels come with a 25-year parts warranty, labor's 25-year reimbursement. And they warranty the top tier power warranty for 25 years, and the racking system that holds it is made in the US. Panels are made in Switzerland, right?
Yes,
Switzerland.
With parts from China.
no, that was a separate bid,
Yeah,
but we decided we didn't want to use the Chinese
Yeah.
panels. So it would have been cheaper with that, but we're recommending these because they are sturdier, and for windy days like today, we want to make sure that we have something that's,
That's what I was gonna ask. So how do they attach to the roof without penetrating the roof?
Yeah, that's a really good point.
I think that we need to have
There are
Barrett.
posts that go alongside the
Well,
building.
Well, or awfully big piece of concrete or something.
I would like to have Barrett come and meet with all of us. He is the person who has given us this estimate.
Cause they are just tin roofs with styrofoam on them.
Right, he has looked at them. He has been out
And
here.
he looked up here to see what our reinforcement is
Right,
and stuff, yeah.
Maybe they're not on the roof.
They move quite a bit when I walk on it, so I'd hate to see it so
Yeah.
up there and then fall through. Especially if they're just sitting on there.
Is there an option not to have them on the roof?
there is, and we asked about it because that was what you were recommending, and they said it would be a lot more expensive and a lot less efficient, because we would have to have cabling. If you were thinking about having them out there, there would have to be cabling trenched in on the ground and under the pavement, or parking lot to the building. And it would lose energy in that distance, in traveling that distance, and the cost of all of that would boost the price significantly. So he didn't ask for how much it would be, but he highly recommended the roof.
I'd like to hear him.
Yeah, it's
How he's
worth
gonna
hearing.
Attach the roof to the roof without penetrating it.
Yeah.
But it seems to me you'd have as much line going as you would if it was on the roof or on the ground. Unless it's gotta be around where the sun is shining on it all the time or something, so it'd have to be down this end of the building.
Well, it would be at that end of the building because of the trees at this end.
But at the same point in time too is,
down here
Oh,
on this building, and
yeah, but we lose the sun, what, at about 5 o'clock because of the hill?
Yeah, roughly.
Or,
So you took all that into consideration?
He did.
yeah, they did.
Summertime is probably like 6:30, I would imagine. This time of year, it's probably 1:32.
yeah, so I was gonna say 2 o'clock.
Yeah. It starts getting shadowy in front of the shop at about 2:00.
So I guess if you're interested, we could ask them to come out
Yes.
and maybe show us how it attaches, that it doesn't penetrate the roof, and answer any other questions that you would have, if you wise. I don't know if they could come on the 6th is our next meeting?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wednesday the 6th.
6th.
I'll ask.
Let me say something again.
That agenda, I have that agenda on Thursday, just so you know, so I need to know quick.
Yeah, there isn't much time.
Yes. I would like to have him come and have you all here. I have talked to other people that have had Midwest Solar installed on their house. They're very pleased. Very pleased. And some new friends that we've had. And show you their house. They have a lot of trees and they are still getting very good solar.
Can I ask one question that just if it could be addressed that we've just talked about was, since solar's not that old yet, are there any health concerns with having it on the roof over time?
None that I have heard. And the faith community that I'm a member of is on their second generation of solar panels. We've had them more than 20 years.
Okay.
And Midwest Solar on that house.
I don't get to see.
You'll get it when it comes back, sorry, and then we'll send it this way.
But Kim, what we were talking about earlier, you said that if we use the money, or Steve did, that we'd never be able to get that back, or because.
No, we're talking about the levy limit.
Right.
Yeah, so if you don't, I mean, your allowable levy is the 1.9, and that's what gives you the mill rate that you see. You could take $100,000 less as your budget sits here
But you
today.
said the allowable looked like it was 3 point something.
Well, that's not the levy, that's the revenue or expenses, they're in that area. The levy is at the very top number on your budget.
It is?
The taxes, the 1.9. That's the levy. That's your main revenue source.
Okay, so our levy's staying the same, pretty much.
No, your levy is going up from 1.5 million to 1.9 million because of
Debt
debt service. And so, but the way your budget sits right now, that leaves you with $100,000 that you haven't spent yet. So if you wanted to not levy that $100,000, you could, but the way these levy limits are calculated, if you don't use your full allowable levy, it can penalize you in the future of what you're, when you really might need to use your full allowable levy.
Unless you have a referendum. Well, I'm just saying, but everybody's talking like you can't do it. You can do it. And we don't know in a year what things are gonna be like.
So you could take, okay, so let me take $100,000 off of that and see what that does to the levy limit for the heck of it. So that brings your mill rate down to 3.31.
Instead of 3.49,
Yeah.
so 1/10.
So your the taxes per 300,000 would be 995 instead of whatever it was.
1,007.
1,049. So it'd be about $55 cheaper for a $300,000 house. You could do that, and then your budget would essentially be balanced right now. But, then whatever implications that might have on the levy worksheet in the future, you'd have to deal with.
I'm not willing to do that.
Or you could take that 100,000 is what you have to work with. You could put that into road maintenance contracts if it's gonna cost more to grind those roads.
Yeah, why not use
You
it
could put it
there?
in there, or you could decide to not borrow next year for that equipment and use $100,000 of this and 25,000 of unassigned funds for that equipment and use it that way. I mean, there's lots of different things you could do with that. By doing that, then that would help your future mill rate because you wouldn't have more debt to put on it.
There you go.
Or any other number of things that you could think about here that you might want to put more.
Didn't you just say the mill rate was 1.9?
No, the mill rate on your worksheet with the tax levy is 1.9 million.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I got you.
And the mill rate at that levy is 3.499. If I took off 100,000 and balanced your budget, didn't use the full mill rate, it would be 3.316.
That's not enough of a change to worry about.
Neither,
I don't
that's, I
think it
agree.
is.
10%.
So those are the two options that I can think of, is go back to not borrowing for that truck, put this $100,000 plus 25,000 of unassigned funds towards it, or put it towards your road maintenance, so you got money to grind roads next year if you're gonna pave.
I'm just not willing to do that to the future
Future what?
of our jobs here,
About what?
of what we're doing right now.
What do you mean?
We're trying to balance the budget.
Well, actually, we're not, because we're not gonna use some of the money.
So you said, so we can take $100,000 off. So that's what?
No, whatever, I'm just saying, I
But
mean,
it's gonna.
why are we looking at peanuts when we could keep it on for peanuts? Next year is next, Mike, 26 is
Okay, go
26.
ahead. Do it your way then.
Well, there's 5 of us here, you know,
All right,
when you salute and you move on, that's all,
All right.
you know.
let's take a vote then.
Well, we can't vote here on that. I'm just not for taking and laying more money on people to save money, and it doesn't save money for the taxpayer.
No, it allows us to maintain the level of service that they've become accustomed to.
Either way it will. Either
No.
way,
No,
yeah, either way it will.
No, it won't.
I don't know how you could say that. But that's why we have 5 people on the board, period.
You're right.
You can't have dissent,
You're right.
you gotta have dissent, period.
You're right.
And we think of things totally different.
So at this point, are we going to use any surplus funds, or we want to talk about it again later?
I think that's the best to do it later, don't you, or after?
You know, at this point, you're trying to figure out where to spend the 100,000. I mean, you don't even need to think about surplus funds at this point, because you've got 100,000 in the budget that you still could use.
This,
Where would be,
So
we would
we
be,
could just leave it in undesignated, that 100,000, and deal with it later.
No, you need a budget. You need to balance your budget.
Right.
So you need to decide if you want, where you want to put that 100,000. Do you want to put it on road maintenance? Do you want to pay for the equipment? Is there something else you want to put it towards? You want to buy solar? Do you want to, what do you want to do?
I do, because I believe it's going to save money for the township
The
in the
solar,
future.
the solar is what, like
50.
40 or 50?
50.
So, I mean, you could do that out of unassigned funds. With the fund balance that you have, you could definitely do that out of your unassigned funds still.
So for 100, they'll put it out in the grass, not on the roof?
We have to ask him.
He must know what he's doing. I guess, if he went up there, or did he?
He did, he
He went up
looked,
on the roof?
Yeah.
and he pulled apart these panels and looked up here. Chris was here with him, so, and looked at the panel, at the control panel over there and said it needs to be replaced, that. And there needs to be an addition to the garage control panel for this, for taking this in, so.
Excellent, full.
Are you willing to have me invite him on the 6th of
Yes.
November?
Yes.
I will, and I will let you know tomorrow.
Okay. And if
Tomorrow's
there's
Wednesday,
anything
we
other,
got no Thursday before noon.
Yep.
and any other things that you might want to go in the packets, I do have copies of the quotes, but
Okay.
if there's anything else that you want to go in the packets, I would need that by Thursday noon, yeah.
because we have the ability to move money around once it's been assigned to a particular budget category. Just for our ease, for right now, my suggestion, let's throw the 100K into the highway maintenance fund and let it sit there, because we can pull it and move
Yep,
it
I
to
agree.
pay for truck stuff.
Whatever.
We can pay
Yep.
for a
Solar
blacktop.
stuff, whatever, you know.
Yes,
Highway maintenance contract, so you want to raise that 367, 208.64 by $100,140.
Correct.
And Dan, you're not really
don't
getting
spend it
that.
all in one place.
You're not really getting that.
Yeah, you may not get it, but
We'll talk about it in August. We gotta pay the bills.
Remember, it would take 3 days to do this?
yeah. Okay,
because of our treasurer, it's a lot easier.
Yes.
It was
Did you
definitely.
hear me? Treasurer, oh, you did.
So we have a balanced budget then.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to go through and make sure I didn't make any stupid things tonight, but yeah. Assuming that I didn't, then yes.
So set a public hearing for the Town of Cottage Grove budget in for fiscal year 2025. Set a date.
So you want to do it the first Monday in December?
Sure. That would be the 2nd.
That's what we've usually done.
Sure.
That's what we've usually done,
Yeah.
yeah. It's nice because that's earlier than sometimes it is in December, the first Monday.
And special meeting of the electors, same night.
Same night, yeah.
And the town board meeting the same night.
And the town board.
Mhm.
Do we want to
Still start at
that
7.
meeting early or no?
Yeah.
7?
Still, yeah, I think we can still start at 7.
Yeah, we always have.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Anders, second by Williams for adjournment. Undebatable, all in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried.
It's done
Thank
before
you,
9.
one and all.
I just gotta tell you guys something that, I'm
Get the meeting shut off
I'm gonna have
first.
surgery on the 7th of November, heart surgery, so
For what?
I'll probably be missing, I feel great, but I got 2 blocked arteries that are gonna put a,
You're gonna do a
Stinson?
cabbage?
no, not stents, they're gonna
Do bypass.
taking 2 bypasses, yeah.
Oh,
So I'll be out of the net for
on a Thursday.